Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a review here for Spider-Man Octo-Girl, Volume 1. Sounds like a hentai, doesn't it? This is written by Hideyuki Furuhashi. Yes. And Betancourt did the art. Now, these two are the creators of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I don't think they were the original creators of My Hero Academia, nor do I care enough to do any research about that, just to be honest with you. I think Vigilantes is an actual spin-off of that series. It's not like a Dragon Ball Z thing where they're just there's a title change for America for different eras and different types of storytelling and tone and all of that. I don't know. But anyway, earlier this year, I need to backtrack just a little bit. Earlier this year, I read a book called, and it was a manga, Spider-Man Fake Red. It's not even about Peter Parker, but I had said in that review, both on this channel and on my other kind of more novel channel before I really started doing this as a comic channel, that Spider-Man Fake Red may very well have been the best book I read this year, aside from Razor Fist's Ghost of the Badlands, which I love too. That Fake Red book was so magnificent, and it was clearly from somebody who understood Spider-Man as a character, and even though it wasn't about Peter, it clearly got the sentiment of who Peter is when he's involved in the story. It got everything about the character, the lore, the history, and it matched that Stan Lee feel in a very cool modern way. And even the love story in that was really good. Fake Red was a masterpiece. It should have kept going on, in my opinion, but it didn't get to. It got canceled. Hopefully one day it gets picked back up. I wish the fans would actually pick up Fake Red because it's phenomenal. It really is. And with that being said, and a lot of my exposure to a lot of the other DC and Marvel manga from Japan, like, for example, Batman Justice Buster, Volume 2 saved that series for me. It was amazing. Really, really great. I was hoping that this would be in the same vein as those, even though the title was clearly more cutesy, the cover was more cartoonish cutesy, and I was worried I was going to get too silly with this book. And it was. Okay? Spider-Man Octo-Girl Volume 1. I'm going to let you know up front, I'm kind of dreading reading the rest of this series. I don't know how long it'll go. It came out last year in 2023 for the first time. But this was such a massive disappointment. I knew from the title and from the cover it was going to be rough, but man, it really got rough as the book went on. So, I guess to really start off the book, Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus are fighting on top of a very high building. Dr. Octopus falls, and when he's falling, he realizes he probably doesn't have enough stretchiness, I guess you could say, with his tentacles to save himself, that he's probably going to die. So while he's on the way down, he disconnects 3 of his tentacles to try to make himself fall slower. And his 4th tentacle, he actually has an AI system installed into, and he talks to it and tells it, hey, activate my clone. And apparently when that happens, essentially his brainwaves start to transfer to this clone body, and he begins to see things that kind of resemble the idea of seeing your life flash before your eyes, which I thought was kind of cool. This stuff was interesting to me, even though I don't think Dr. Octopus would fall to his death. That's just a thing you have to let go to accept this book. And Spider-Man, by the way, is wearing a very Parker Industries glowy eyeball Dan Slott costume a lot of the time in this book, which I'm not a fan of at all. But the costume looks mildly okay here compared to the actual Dan Slott run, which was interesting. But yeah, they're doing kind of a Superior Spider-Man storyline, and this is heavily tied to Superior Spider-Man and apparently the Deadpool Samurai manga too, in case you haven't read that, which I haven't. I own Volume 1, but there's a character in here I'll get to later that's apparently from that. But, so Otto, basically his body just shuts down and goes into a coma, and he almost dies, but Spider-Man saves the body. However, Otto doesn't know that. Otto wakes up inside of the body of a little girl in fucking Tokyo. Yes, it's a body swap story. You can imagine my excitement. It's one of those kinds of ideas, kind of like the shrinking person stories that I fucking hate. From movies, from books, all of that, especially in Goosebumps. Shrinking person stories I've always said are very lazy. Body swaps and exorcism stories are right behind it, every single time. And that's what this is. He takes over the body of this little girl, he activates some spare tentacles he has somewhere to crawl all the way over to Tokyo, and now he's kind of intruding on this little girl's life, but instead of just doing his evil supervillainy, he goes and lives her life for her. Yeah. Like, if he has bullies at school, he threatens to kill them, because that's normal. It's also normal for no teacher to report that. Yeah, that's the kind of book you're dealing with Spider-Man Octo-Girl Volume 1, and I hate it. I really, truly despise it most of the time, and it kept getting worse and worse as the book went on, despite a couple of interesting ideas by the end of the book that could be better in Volume 2 and could make this a better book and experience overall. But I was right. It's this cutesy pie shit that I can't stand. Like, for example, there's a lot of humor in how a little girl perceives Dr. Octopus, because she can talk to him through the projector on his tentacle, oddly enough. And they can, like, hit a hair clip that he designs to switch their personalities back and forth and who gets to control the body. That's really it. There's not really even a villain to the story until, like, the last 20 or so pages of the book, the last chapter of the book, which, again, kind of leans more into Superior Spider-Man. I thought that was kind of interesting what we could do with that. Peter, actual Spider-Man, is barely in the book. When he's there, like earlier in the book when he's fighting Doc, or when he saves Doc's body and Doc doesn't know it because he's gone over into Japan into a tiny little girl's body, Peter is written perfectly. And I feel like by the end of the series, he'll come back to Tokyo and try to help everything and try to solve all the issues and so on and so on. And if that happens, Peter could be super well written for that, and it could be a really good time. But for right now, I don't like anything in the book. Like, I really don't. The art is fine for what it's trying to communicate with this cutesy, cartoony shit. The little girl, who's by the way, I don't even understand how Otto got into her body instead of his clone's body. They haven't explained that in this book. Maybe they will in the future. I don't know. But they did not explain that in here. And that's a big no-no for me, because I need to understand why Doc ended up in a random little girl and not a clone body that his AI would have to be programmed to. Why not somebody else's body instead of a little girl? It doesn't make any sense to me, unless she's supposed to be like a long-lost kid or something at some point, which I don't think makes sense, but it could. Now, her name is Otoha, so basically Otto Octavius. Yeah. That's just fucking hilarious, manga. That's absolutely hilarious. He also, when he possesses her body, makes her wear big rim glasses like he usually does, and he cuts her fucking hair to look like his bowl cut. Yeah. That's what Dr. Octavius did. Dr. Octopus cut a small child's hair that he was possessing the body of to feel what? More homely? What was the point of doing that? They give you like a small thing about like, that's like his fashion sense, sort of, kind of. They don't say fashion, but that's what I apply to it. It's like he wants to feel more homely. She doesn't even complain about it, really, which is crazy. Like, she's a little girl, like 7, 8, 9, something like that, maybe even younger. I don't know. Spider-Man Octo-Girl was so insultingly bad, but you know what really pissed me off? To not get into too much spoilers or anything. Well, I won't even go to that yet. Just let me wait a second. There's another Spider-Man character that gets involved here, who is a younger girl who apparently, like I said earlier, is tied to the Deadpool Samurai manga, which, again, I haven't read. Her name is Sakura Spider, I think is what her name. Pretty sure it's that. She literally is like a Gwen, Spider-Gwen, whatever her name is. She's like that, but like she wears a hoodie. The costume looks cool, like from the neck down, but, like, she wears a fucking Spider-Man hoodie. Like, it's just a hood going over her head. What? And I know she's from, like, another dimension or something, but I don't know. It just seems really stupid. I understand why Spider-Man Peter himself is not involved yet heavily in the story. Maybe he won't be. I don't know. But Sakura Spider was probably, like, the best character in the book. And I'm surprised to say that because I'm so sick of Spider-Man variants and everything I watch, everything I read, everything I play. But she was okay. I just wish she had a better costume. Maybe they'll give her one here. I don't know. But it's kind of interesting of her being like homeless and hard up for money. She's almost a copy-paste of Peter if Peter had just been put in another reality of some sort. But anyway, let me get on to what I was bitching about a moment ago, about the ending of the book. There is an author's afterword, and then there's another page immediately after that that basically has the author and the artist do like an afterword type of thing about this project. Now, the one with just the author, Hideyuki or whatever his name is, from the get-go, it made everything about this shitty-ass book that does not understand Spider-Man, does not understand the lore of these characters, especially Otto Octavius. It made so much make sense about how shitty this book was and how bad it was for me. This writer starts off that whole thing saying that he thinks basically Otto Octavius is pretty lame for the most part, is what I'm basically going to paraphrase it as. That he looks to Otto Octavius and thinks a lot of the fans apparently do, look at it in the sense of like an old tin toy you had when you were a kid, and you love it because of nostalgia, not because there's actual, something cool there. And he begins to talk about how much he loves the run of the comics as he read them for this project. Not that he was a fan before that, unlike the guy who wrote Spider-Man Fake Red, that you can feel it in the work how much he loves Spider-Man in general. And that's okay for somebody to be new to something. Let me make that very clear. This guy could have been brand new to Spider-Man writing this Spider-Man Octo-Girl book. That's fine and good. Don't have a problem with that. Glad you exposed yourself to some of it. He goes on to say that some of his favorite run ever from Spider-Man, reading him digitally, was from 2009 to 2019, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here, man. You didn't read Stan Lee. You didn't even try, I'd bet. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't like the writing style. It can be distracting, I guess, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like you even read like Amazing Fantasy 15 or whatever that number was for that book. To really delve into what Spider-Man started as, what it became in the 70s and the 80s, into the shitty 90s clone saga that's bad too. For me, Spider-Man, even though I like small things here and there, like Spider-Verse from Dan Slott, I know that's controversial, but I do like it, even though it's a little messy. Spider-Man never really recovered in the comics from the 90s clone saga. I don't think most of comics recovered from the 90s, to be general and to be honest with you. But the Spider-Man's very much one that got beat down a lot. In that first author's note, he says that about Otto Octavius. He says that about the 2009 to 2019 comic run being some of his favorite stuff ever. He references Superior Spider-Man being amazing, which I haven't read that, but I've always wanted to. I don't hate the idea of that body swap because of what happened with Peter. I just hate how it's basically retconned almost immediately during that story, that miniseries, if you will. I don't even think you can get that on digital, which is shameful. But I've always wanted to read Superior Spider-Man. I'd be willing to bet it's way better than this, 100-fold, you know? But then we get to the other author page, right? The secondary one with the author and the writer. This fucking guy completely lies through his teeth, and he says that he's always loved Otto Octavius, and that he could not wait to be a part of this project because of how much he loved all of this stuff. And that's what got him into making this project, was how much he loved Otto Octavius. Motherfucker, you just said on the page before that you had never been a fan of him, and that you didn't even start researching Otto until you were hired on basically to make this project, and you had to research. Don't fucking lie to people like me. The fact that you did it right there within 2 pages, it made everything about this book make sense. And people like me admire the manga community overseas. There's a lot of great craftsmen and writers, and especially artists out there, who in black and white, limited to black and white, they make some of the best work I've ever seen in comics, Compared to America, where we're putting high-quality paper out there with shitty imagery on it, and sometimes shitty coloring on it, too, when you see some of the things like Captain Marvel comics and whatnot. I have so much respect for the Japanese and the manga in general. I do. But then I see motherfuckers like this, who lie through their fucking teeth to the fans right there, and I personally feel disrespected by how they talked about Otto, how they treated Spider-Man, how they treated Otto in general in this book. I don't mind adaptations. I don't mind new editions and versions of characters. I don't mind that as long as you treat it with respect. This book does not. Spider-Girl Volume 1, or whatever this is called, Spider-Man Octo-Girl Volume 1, it's a bad book written by non-Spider-Man fans with some good art, but it's too humorous, it's too silly and childish. A young kid or a young teen would like this that are into manga and into Spider-Man 2. But if you're an Otto fan, you're not going to like this. If you love Peter, you're not going to like this. There's not even Spider-Man in it. It should be a sin to call it fucking Spider-Man. It should just be Octo-Girl Volume 1 and have Spider-Man's, photoshopped blurry image in the background of the picture instead of where you have him here in kind of a blurry image, but treat it with the title and everything like it's a Spider-Man story. It's not. It's so fucking insulting, dude, but even so, I don't feel like I should get that wrapped up into this. Maybe, again, Volume 2 can save this. Maybe I can forgive this author for lying through his teeth about being a fan of Spider-Man and Otto and the series in general, the old lore of some things. Maybe it'll save it. I don't know. I kind of doubt it because I'm immediately going to go into that particular volume and that review probably being kind of pissy about it because I feel like shit like this is a clear-cut cash cow. It's the kind of thing that you would see from current-day Marvel here in the US since, 2014, 2010, all the way back to then. All the way back to 2009 might as well have been. It feels like that kind of thing, And I don't like it. I think it's bullshit. So anyway, Spider-Man Octo-Girl Volume 1, if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I'd give it probably a 2 out of 5 stars, because mainly there's some cool things happening towards the end of the book that show up that could be really cool in Volume 2, depending on how they're treated, like I said. The love for Superior Spider-Man, which I think is cool, is nice here, but it's everything else. And like I said, the art's okay, but it's everything else that is just shit, constantly. And to think I was so excited about this book, and I just feel pissed about it now. Anyway, have you read it? What do you think about it? Are you gonna read it? Let me know everything you think about the Octo-Girl storyline so far. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.